Hello everyone, welcome to Learn German Online with Schneider Institute. Today I'm going to be talking about the verb lassen. Now the thing is, the verb lassen actually have a lot of application in a sentence, a lot of meaning and a whole lot of, how will I say it, translation when you apply them in a sentence. So today I'm going to try to explain this verb lassen. Now firstly, the verb lassen in German is to let, that's a translation, or to leave. So I'm going to look at a couple of sentences, the application of the verb lassen in the sentence, and what it actually means in the sentence. All right, so let's get into this. Now, firstly, I have the conjugation of the verb lassen. From what you can see here, the verb lassen is an irregular verb. So as you can see, we have ich lasse, du lässt, lässt, sie lässt, es lässt, wir lassen, ihr lasst, sie lassen und sie lassen. So this is the verb conjugation. Here, the irregular verb where the A changes to umlaut A for the pronouns du, sie, and s. All right, so now let's look at the first category we have here. Here I have etwas erlauben. Etwas erlauben simply means to allow something. Etwas erlauben. Now when you're using the verb lassen in this case, it's more like you're saying to let, to allow something, to let. And here I have the sentence that says, Sie lässt die Katze von Boden essen. Sie lässt die Katze von Boden essen. This simply means she allows the cat eat from the floor. She allows the cat eat from the floor. More like she lets the cat eat from the floor. So in this case, lassen is serving as a verb to allow, to permit, to grant. And then the next one we have here says, mein Vater lässt die Katze auf dem Esstisch stehen. Stehen obviously in this case means the verb to stand. So which means my father allows the cat to stand on the dining table. Yeah? So auf dem Esstisch stehen. So lassen is the verb here, and of course the conjugation agrees with the subject of the sentence from the verb conjugation we talked about earlier on. You notice here that the verb was conjugated to agree with the subject, which is sie. Here the verb is also conjugated to agree with the subject, which is mein, Vater, the masculine noun. All right, let's look at the other application here. Now, the next one we'll have here is etwas zurücklassen. Etwas zurücklassen, more like to leave something behind. Zurücklassen, like you say, zurückfahren, zurückreisen, behind, zurück, back, yeah? So, etwas zurücklassen, to leave behind. And here I have, ich habe es zu Hause liegen gelassen. Let me explain this right now. Now, firstly, we have gelassen, which is obviously the das perfect form of the verb lassen, the past form. Yeah, that's perfect. We've talked about that already. So, ich habe es zu Hause liegen gelassen, which simply means I left it at home. So, liegen here, of course, I can do without liegen here, which is why I put it in brackets. I can do without liegen here. I can simply say, ich habe es zu Hause gelassen. Ich habe es zu Hause gelassen, which means I left it at home. This is more like I left it lying at home. Yeah? So liegen could be used in this case, or you can still do without what? Liegen. In this case, let's say someone asks a question, where is your mobile phone? Which is das Handy. Then this S can simply suffice for das Handy, which is S. So I left it at home. And here we have the next one that says, weil ich jeden Tag arbeite, lasse ich meinen Hund zu Hause. Weil ich jeden Tag arbeite, lasse ich meinen Hund zu Hause. Which means, because I work every day, I leave my dog at home. So you see, it's more like I leave my dog behind. I leave my dog at home. So here we have the conjunction, subcoordinating conjunction here, which is weil, which displaces the verb from this position to the second position to the end of the sentence. And then we'll have this here. This is, of course, we're still going to talk about this later on, the sentence structure. But what I'm trying to point out here is that the verb lassen here is used as to leave what? Behind, zurücklassen. Yeah? Okay. The next one we'll have, it says ein Vorschlag. Ein Vorschlag simply means suggestion. We want to make suggestion. Of course, there are other ways to make suggestion in German. I'm simply going to use this to illustrate this. It says, lass uns Tettel gehen. Lass uns Tettel gehen, which simply means, let's go camping. Let's go camping. So this could be seen as a suggestion. Yeah? Someone could simply say, lass uns lieber, let's say, in den Supermarkt gehen, which means let us go to the supermarket. That could also be seen as a subjection, yeah? So, lass uns Tetel gehen, which means let's go camping. That is for subjection. All right, so let's go over to the next slide. Now here we have etwas veranlassen, which means to have done, to have something done, yeah? To get something done, to have something done. And I have the sentence that says, Ich lasse mein Rad reparieren. Now when I say Ich lasse mein Rad reparieren, imagine someone asks a question, where is your bicycle? Yeah? Rad, Fahrrad, Rad. And then I have to tell the person, oh, my bicycle is bad and I left it for what? For repair, which means it's at the repair. So in this case, I can simply use this statement that simply says, Ich lasse mein Rad reparieren, which means I left it for repair. I left it there to be repaired, yeah? And the next one we have here says, Ich lasse mir die Haare schneiden. Now here, we'll have the dative case, of course, in this case, which simply means I am allowing someone cut my hair, yeah? I'm letting someone cut my hair. So there's another person doing this action, yeah? So Ich lasse mir die Haare schneiden. This is the dative form for this, obviously the reflexive form, which means I'm allowing someone perform this action on me, which is why you have me becoming the indirect object of the sentence, beneficiary of the action in the sentence. So Ich lasse mir die Haare schneiden, which means I'm allowing my hair what? To be cut, yeah? Of course, by someone. All right. Now, the next one we have here simply says aufhören. Aufhören. And aufhören means to stop. Of course, as a separable verb, it means to stop. Aufhören. So if I say hör auf, which means I'm telling you what? Stop. That's imperative. Yeah? Okay. So here it says, lass mich einfach nur in Ruhe. Just let me be in peace. Let me be. When you want to simply tell someone, let me be. Lass mich einfach nur in Ruhe. Let me be in peace. Just let me be. Yeah? Which is why, of course, this is also imperative. And then here it says, lass das. Let's say, for instance, you have your child is playing with something you don't want your child to play with. Let's say the laptop, for instance. Yeah? In that case, I can simply say, lass das, which means allow that, let it be. Yeah? Lass das. Okay, so and now I'm going to try to explain areas or a particular place where the verb lassen doesn't actually apply. Now, when I'm talking about to depart, to leave, recall I told you that the verb lassen means to let or to leave. But in this case, you can't use the verb lassen. You have to use either the verb fahren, abfahren, reisen, depending on the sentence you're making. So here I have, der Zug fährt 9 Uhr nach Deutschland ab, which simply means that the train is departing at 9 o'clock to Germany. So you can't use lassen. I can't say der Zug lässt. No, it doesn't work. So you have to use the verb abfahren in this case. All right. Now the next we'll have list of verbs, more like separable and inseparable verb that have to do with lassen as a verb. We'll have ablassen, anlassen, auslassen, entlassen, unterlassen, telassen, und zu lassen. These are other lists of verbs I thought you should know. So you can simply learn or memorize these verbs because you're likely going to be needing them when making sentences in German, as you can see here on the board. Okay, so I believe I've been able to explain the verb lassen to some extent. If you have any question, you can simply write in the comment section. I would also want you to try any sentence of your choice, write in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram at Schneider Institute. All right, thank you very much and see you in our next class. Auf Wiedersehen.